Imagination is a big part of our world, and it's often expressed through books, movies, and TV, among other things. It's a common practice for children to watch cartoons and animated movies from a young age. These present children with a sort of imaginary world. One studio specifically is very famous for the world that it has created. As an animation studio, Disney has been able to create enduring characters and worlds. Disney's productions also tend to be visually appealing, which is part of what has drawn so many people to them. But Disney hasn't only created movies and TV shows. There are also Disney theme parks in California, Florida, and Japan, among other places. To translate their imaginary worlds from screen to life, Disney used Imagineers, special effects artists from their own team who acted as imaginative engineers. Besides translating their existing worlds, Disney created some original characters and worlds for their theme parks as well. An example of this is the Haunted Mansion, a haunted house-esque ride. The original Haunted Mansion is in Disneyland, California, and opened in 1969. It drew inspiration from New Orleans manners and the Winchester Mystery House. Following the success of the Disneyland Haunted Mansion, a version opened up in Walt Disney World several years later. The Haunted Mansion ride features various rooms including the foyer, the stretching room, the load area, the portrait hallway, the library, the music room, the graveyard, and the stairway. Guests ride on doom buggies as they take a tour of the mansion narrated by the ghost host. The Haunted Mansion is an interesting ride in terms of creating an imaginary world because it isn't based off an existing film, TV show, or book. It just is its own world, and the rider is submerged in that world as they go through the mansion. The mix of music and creepy sound effects has a sort of manic, jarring effect that matches the pandemonium of ghosts arising. Your eyes are drawn to the glowing ghosts in Crystal Ball as they contrast against the dark mansion. As with a lot of rides at Disneyland or Disney World, the Haunted Mansion also has a nostalgia factor for a lot of people. People who rode the ride as kids can go back as adults and remember feeling truly scared of everything or really believing in the imaginary world around them. As amazing as the ride itself is, it takes a certain frame of mind to really submerge yourself in an imaginary world, and nostalgia can play a big part in that, allowing you to access a childish or even naive state of mind that you might avoid in everyday life. Even for people who don't have childhood memories associated with the Haunted Mansion, just being at Disney World is often enough to make them feel nostalgic and want to be submerged in an imaginary world.
When all the ghosts are dancing and all that stuff, yeah, that's the best part, definitely.
A lot of the things included in the mansion, such as some of the busts, portrait, and furniture, are things that might be found in a real mansion, which helps lend a sense of reality to the experience. Everything about the ride draws you in and gets you immersed. Guests start out in the stretching room, a room that appears to stretch. The stretching room features several seemingly austere pictures on the walls that are revealed to be quite funny after the room stretches and the full pictures are seen. After the stretching room, the guests are able to enter the doom buggies and commence the tour while riding them. The guests pass by Madame Leota, a character voiced by Eleanor Audley but with the appearance of Leota Toombs. Madame Leota is seen holding a seance, and shortly afterwards many ghosts begin appearing while Grim Grinning Ghosts plays in the background. Guests then pass through the music room, featuring various creepy portraits, a piano, and a ghost who exclaims, "And we all lived happily ever after." Following this is the graveyard, where the figure of a man and his dog can be seen cowering in fear from the ghosts appearing. Near the exit of the graveyard, the ghost host warns, "Beware of hitchhiking ghosts," and a few ghosts can be seen sticking out their thumbs as if they were hitchhikers.
Definitely the darkness and the ghosts, because I'm all about Day of the Dead kind of thing, so the ghosts are my favorite.
It's one of the few haunted-style attractions that Disney actually has.
The Haunted Mansion is just one example of a multitude of worlds that Disney has created, many of which have inspired and influenced people's worldview and creativity over the years.